guys, it's me, Rena from Snowworks Crochet, and in today's video, I'm gonna learn how to knit. So, for a little background, my history with knitting is pretty limited. My grandma tried to teach me back when I was 8, and I remember knitting like a little, rectangle, and that was the extent of it. What she taught me the knit stitch, so I can do the knit stitch very easily. She might have taught me purl, I'm not sure, and she also taught me how to cast on. I couldn't tell you how I cast on my stitches, I just know that I know how to do it. I want to try making a beanie, and I don't necessarily think that's the best beginner-friendly type of stitch or project, but that's what I'm gonna do here. I mean, should I do some practice knitting? Maybe, but I have a really bad tendency where when I do things, I kind of like to go all into things and not necessarily ease myself into things, which sometimes is good, sometimes is really bad. I've kind of gone through life that way, which is questionable at best, but here we are. So a while ago, I hit up a Michael's and bought these Karen spice cakes. You can see I kind of, used it a little bit at my first attempt that I forgot to film. My first real attempt I forgot to film, and it was a very big fail. I tried using the Karen spice cake. It was questionable at best. So I bought circular knitting needles too, and those ended up being too long. And because they were too long, I ended up just going on Amazon and buying shorter knitting needles. So now I have the appropriate knitting needles. So these were the ones I bought, and these were the ones I needed. I'm going to be attempting the Passionate Kelsey Chunky Knit Beanie pattern. From my understanding, her Chunky Knit Beanie is basically alternating knit and purl in the round. And she has a stitch marker, which I don't have for knitting, but I have crochet stitch markers, so we're gonna have to make do with that. Yeah, that works. So let me go look up her video and we'll get started. 56, cast on 56 stitches. Okay, so she essentially casts on 56 stitches. I'm gonna cast on the way my grandma taught me, and for reference, I don't know what method this is. I'm just gonna do it based off vibes. I got my 56 stitches casted on. Let me make sure these aren't super twisted. So my understanding is that this is alternating knit purl, essentially. She puts her stitch marker here. I don't have a knit stitch marker, but whatever. So knit 1, and she says she does her purl like weird. Okay, this is the part that I get confused at. What? Let me count this again. Yeah, because the purl is the part I get confused at. 1. I cannot count. See my problem here?
And then the way that I do my purls is I hold my yarn in between my needles like this, and then I'll grab it with my needle and pull it through to the back like that.
Okay.
And then these 2 stitches are just going to repeat all the way around. So we're gonna go knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, so on and so forth.
Okay, I figured it out. Okay, so knit.
So I'm going to move my yarn to the front of my work. I'm going to take my needle and put it through the front of my stitch like that. And then the way that I do my purls is I hold my yarn in between my needles like this, and then I'll grab
Ha,
it with my
ha,
needle
ha, ha, ha.
and pull it through to the back,
Okay.
like that.
Okay, I think I got it. I'm sure those of you who knit are watching me right now and screaming, I get it. I get it, I really do. So, as I'm working on this, it's very obvious, like, what part stuck with me as a kid and what part didn't, because the knit stitch, easy. Casting on, easy. That part, I somehow remember as a child. I don't know how, just did. But the purl stitch is killing me right now. I think Passionate Kelsey had like a whole video saying that, like, yeah, that she does her purl stitches like weirdly too. So I'm like, oh, I'm probably learning it wrong. But oh well. At least for this beanie in particular. But the video is pretty self-explanatory, so it's not like the end of the world. You know, the reason why, like, every time I've tried to knit again, I just kind of give up is because, I don't know, it just might be a pride thing. So I have improved quite a bit with crochet, considering I started crocheting in like December last year of 2023. And I've come a long way very quickly. I picked it up very quickly. But like knitting, I feel like a slower learning curve, I guess. I don't think I'm saying that right, but whatever. And I keep comparing myself to how I picked up crochet very easily. I was expecting I would do the same to knitting. That is not the case. What I need to do actually, if I really want to learn how to knit, is to just throw away my pride. But that's a hard thing to do because we're human.
And then these two stitches are just going to repeat all the way around. So we're going to go knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, so on and so forth. So I'll do my next stitch as a knit stitch. After that as a purl.
I did impress my grandma with my crochet though, so I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty sure I'm like messing up somewhere around here though. I probably should have watched a tutorial on like actually how to hold the knitting needles properly, but whoops. I'm sure like the people who knit on here are screaming right now. Oh yeah. What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Holy shit, what did I do? Looks a little ugly? That's okay. Looking a little ugly is better than like fucking losing everything. I will say shorter knitting needles, it's kind of goated. Every time I've tried to like relearn how to knit, I've used like super long metal knitting needles because like that's what they have at the store and like discount places. But I will say the shorter knitting needles are a lot easier to use, mainly so I can like scrunch up everything. Okay. It's coming along nicely. It's coming along. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I think I ended on the right stitch too. Good. Okay. This is good. This is good. First round done.
So I'm just going to continue with the pattern of knitting on my knit stitches and purling on my purl stitches all the way around until I get back to the first row. Every row is going to be exactly the same. We're just going to be knitting and purling and knitting and purling and knitting and purling. And we're going to continue every round until our hat is measuring 11.5 inches, okay?
Okay, so you heard Passionate Kelsey. We're gonna keep doing this until it reaches the length that she has specified, which is 11.5 inches. Okay, I'm still working on it, but I just conceptualized how to hold my needles and my threads so I don't have to like constantly do this all the time. So let me show you what I mean by that. It's like this. A little hard to do with the camera. Okay. So then there. Again, I'm not perfect at it, right? But there. It's really hard to do this with the camera. I swear I did it earlier. Okay. Okay, do that. Right here, right? Ha. Yeah, it was a little bit cleaner with the when I don't have a camera on me, but hey, I'll take what I can get. So let me do it again. So here's a knit. Wow, I love how, so here's a knit. Again, looking through the viewfinder on this sucks. Okay. Okay. And then purl. And then purl. Ha 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 ha. Okay, yeah, yeah, I'm sure that was painful for you professional knitters, but I had just figured that out. Also, it's, I'm only a couple rows in. I mean, chunky yarn does help, but I can see the ribbing, which is pretty neat. It's definitely going, my knitting progress. I've, gotten this far. It's not bad. It sure isn't quick. But this is my first real knitting project since I was 8. So I think I'm not doing a terrible job. I'm definitely not as good at this as I am at crochet for very obvious reasons. And I definitely am not progressing as quickly as I did in crochet. So I don't know if I ever want to make another knit thing again. It might come in ebbs and flows, so who knows? I'm starting to figure it out a little bit. I'm not nearly as clumsy with my knits and purls as I was, and I think it's a little bit easier to recognize the stitches now. It's funny because I actually watched a Blondie Knots vlog where she does knit something. She makes a ribbed hat or something, but she completely cheats it by doing the ribbing horizontally. But she gave a really good tip for how to tell between the knits and the purls. Did I drop a stitch? And she said that the knit stitches have a V and the purl stitches don't. And that visual cue has been helping me remember which one to do, essentially. I mean, obviously I'm no experienced knitter, and I'm not exactly looking at the camera either, sorry. I'm not an epic pro. I can't necessarily just I can't take my eyes off of my project and mindlessly knit. I'm nearly not at that point. I don't think I will be with knitting. The speed at which this is taking me, I'm thinking back to the Passionate Kelsey's how many of X can I make in one day. She has insane crochet speed and stuff. So she makes 50 scrunchies in a day, or 30 something bandanas in one day. I tried that myself and I made 5. Okay, she made 30. So put that into perspective. Normal person versus Godspeed crocheter, essentially. I am normal person. She is literal crochet god. Speed wise, she's a normal person just like you and me. Let's not get too parasocial here. I remember she made one of like how many of her ribbed beanies can she do in one day. She says, yeah, I do not knit as fast as I crochet. It will be a lot less. And I'm like, yeah, fair. She made 4 in one day. I kind of want to watch that video again, actually, because like I'm literally using her tutorial to make these. And I'm just shook by her speed. I mean, her crochet speed never ceases to amaze me, but specifically now that I'm doing this knitting, I have something to put into perspective, and it's just messing with me. I've also been working on this intermittently, like, you know, I'll crochet one day and then do some of this a little bit along the way. This video might take me like a whole month to do, honestly, just because I am not like knitting consistently, and I'm significantly slower at knitting than I am at crocheting. So we'll see when this video comes out. I think I started filming like November 2nd and it's November 9th, so who knows? Also, I definitely have way too much chunky yarn. I think for sure that 1 cake of this yarn is enough to make 1 beanie, but I do not want to make another one after that. So I need to figure out what I want to do with the 2nd cake of yarn that I bought. I might consider making one of those V-stitch scarves just because they're pretty, and the V-stitch looks pretty good with chunky yarn, because I do not normally work with chunky yarn. I'm one of those people where if I had to pick between super chunky yarn or micro crochet, I would actually pick micro crochet, because I hate chunky yarn. Chunky yarn hurts my hands and my fingies. I still think this is pretty good for like a first knit project. It's, again, I'm no expert, but take a look at this, right? Like, just take a look at this.
So something that's bothering me right now is that one part of my beanie seems to be longer than the other part, and I measured it. This middle part right here is 3 inches, whereas like where the rows start and ends is about 4 inches, and I don't really know how to fix that at all. I guess it might have to do with my inconsistent tension, since I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm probably stuck with this forever. So yeah.
So general updates on the knitting. I'm about this far done. It's working up a lot quicker than I expected, or maybe I should have expected it, because knitting uses less yarn than crochet, and also it's a lot lighter too, and also I'm using chunky yarn, so it's gonna go quicker as well. I don't know, like, it's starting to look really nice. I'm pretty proud of myself and how far I've progressed. I was looking over some of the footage from when I first started the beanie, and you know, I could tell how awkward I was with the needles, and now I'm starting to get more comfortable with the needles, at least with the stitch. You can see here the bottom rows are a little rough, but as I got more comfortable, the stitches look a little bit more even now, which is good. Let's see how long this is. This is about, right now it's about 9.5 inches, and I need it to be like 11 inches. So I'm gonna keep working on this. I don't think it'll take too long to get done with knitting the entire base, and I had to recake my yarn because it was falling apart, but this is how much yarn I have left. I don't want to make another beanie because I don't want to make the same thing over and over again, but at the same time, like, I have enough yarn where if I really wanted to, I could. There are a lot of things I want to make and sell, just in general, and I'm not at the point in knitting at all to like sell anything. So if I'm not really selling it, I don't want to make another one. This is just an experiment. I don't see myself wanting to make this over and over again and liking it, you know? Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. I'm no pro at knitting, but I'm getting used to the stitches a lot quicker, and it's going a lot quicker. now that I'm more comfortable, I'm no longer awkwardly knitting. It's progress. Seeing how like quickly I've kind of progressed, it like part of me wants to try making other knit items, but the other part of me kind of doesn't. I guess maybe now I'm a little bit more open to it than I was before when I first started. Because when I first started, I was like, I'm never making another knit thing again. But now it's like, maybe I'll consider it. I'm not doing a sweater. Absolutely not. I think if anything, this might open up me using chunky yarn. For crocheting, I hate using chunky yarn. It's terrible, I hate it. But knitting chunky yarn, at least considering this is my very first project, knitting chunky yarn, I might give a try. Because I like doing this. It's a lot quicker. It at least opens up the opportunity to make a chunky sweater if I was so feeling it in the future, at least. Whereas if the idea of a chunky crochet sweater sounds absolutely terrible. I've made a sweater once in my life and I'm actually thinking of ripping it apart and making something else with it. So that's my stance on crochet sweaters, at least, especially with worsted weight yarn. So the idea of a chunky sweater, no thank you. A chunky knit sweater, maybe, just because it's less yarn and also it'll have a little bit more drape as a chunky sweater. I don't know, I'll think about it. I'll consider it. I definitely have a long way to go when it comes to knitting. So far, everything looks good. The only part that's like kind of messed up is this bottom part. I think I'm gonna have to look at the Passionate Kelsey video and see how she like connects the beanie, because maybe I can have this bottom part be the top of the beanie so that way when it's scrunched up, it hides how like messed up it is. So look for that. I also have found myself knitting a little bit because one, to put off working on one of my many whips, but also when my fingers hurt from making too many granny squares, I will knit as a way to recuperate my fingers. Like obviously I'm still using my fingers in a way, but it's a different muscle that it uses. So like the crochet muscles are calmed down, but the knit muscles are probably now on fire. So there's that as well. Okay, so I have about the amount of hat I need to cast off. Essentially, in the Passionate Kelsey video, she has you kind of decrease and then cast off and then sew the top together. But I was hoping that I could possibly try doing the decreases on this thing. And by this thing, I mean the starting edge, because it looks so ugly. So I'm gonna have to approach this differently than the video, which is not a very beginner friendly thing to do. So I'm gonna have to learn how to, one, cast off on circular knitting needles, like just by itself, and two, pick up stitches on the cast on edge. So wish me luck. Sure, it's even more difficult because this is a ribbed beanie, not a standard, not like a regular knit stitch. I don't know what I'm doing, man. I pull in the I just work here meme, but I'm not even working here, I'm just here. Let's look at this video.
Wind off a piece that has been knit in the round on circular needles. And purl one.
Wait, what? What did I do? What did I do? Okay, so, oh wow. Lift this. Okay. Oh wow, this is a lot more difficult with circular needles. Who'da thunk? I don't remember Paul teaching me this. Wow, this is terrible.
binding that off from the circular needles. Here you'll have a little jog from the way that was knit. That's fixed when we weave in our very last end. And you have finished binding off a circular piece on circular needles.
Okay.
I hope that you found that helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
So I just cast off the end and see how much it looks. So much
If you want to knit sweaters, hats, cowl.
And it looks very pretty. My plan is to cast on to this edge and see if I can do the decrease stitches from there. I might regret this later.
Since I'm going to look at the column of knit stitches, and I'm just going to find the 2 loops at the very top that correspond to that column. You might find this easier to do if you use a crochet hook, but I just kind of slide it down to the tip.
So I'm totally guessing how I did this. I think it's okay. It should be. And if it's not, it's at least hidden. But I just picked up a bunch of stitches. I'm going to like knit purl 1 row and then I'll do the decreases. That's in the Passionate Kelsey video. Okay, so whatever I'm doing is a little bit backwards, but that's okay. You know what? I'm vibing here, okay? Look, I'm just vibing at this point. Okay, it's not perfect. I mean, it's still okay. I was able to kind of pick up stitches and it kind of blends in, so it's not that bad. I'm gonna go look at the Passionate Kelsey video to see what I do next now.
Purl 1 regular, and then the pattern is going to just repeat all the way around. So it's going to be slip, slip, knit, knit 1, purl 1, slip, slip, knit.
Slip, slip, knit. Slip, slip. Knit. Knit 1, purl 1.
So I'll take my yarn and I'll pull out like, I don't know, 10 inches or so, and I'll cut that off. And then I'm going to thread both of my yarns through my needle. And from here, we're going to close off the top of our hat.
Oh, oh my god! Okay. I finished the hat.
Nice.
It's a little wonky looking, but
Yeah.
also a little small too. Yeah, hopefully the next time I have to make a hat, I don't have to pick up stitches on the cast on side. Hey guys, I finished my knit beanie. It's pretty good considering that I half improvised this along the way and that it's also my very first knit project. If I ever find myself knitting again, which is to be determined, hopefully my cast on edge is a lot neater so I don't have to cast off at the end, and pick up stitches at the beginning, because I try to pick up stitches on the cast on end and then do all the decreases, because the my beginning rows were looking really rough, and I think that doing it this way kind of hides my mistakes better, but it did leave my end here kind of stiff almost. If I find myself knitting again, I will hopefully do a better job casting on and, you know, doing the initial stitches. Other than that, it's not bad. It's a little small because this edging right here is pretty tight, but I think I did a good job. With that, I will conclude this video here, and thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more, and see you next time. Bye!